So I hope I am audible to all of you. So let's begin today's session, guys. So good evening to all guys and girls. I am Dr. Omkar Sangita Dilprasonone, and today I welcome you all back to the session of Sparks presented to you by AFMG. I know that you are exhausted due to long hours class, so don't worry, it will be a shorter session, okay, around 30 to 45 minutes. I'll try to wind it up, okay. This is the first session of preventive and social medicine. It is a revision as well as a chanting session, so most of the things you need to revise here itself, because as all of us are aware of the fact that PSM is a recall based subject, so all the things you need to revise multiple times, then and then only it would be easier for you guys to actually remember all those things, okay. So उस तरह से PSM आसान हो जाता है बहुत ज़्यादा, okay. So I hope that all of you would be interactive in the session. I'll be asking some questions along the way, and please try to answer those, okay. That will definitely help you recall things much better, right? So let's begin the session on this note, okay. But just please remember, guys, be interactive in the session. That will make it more interesting for you as well as for me, right? So let's begin the session for today, starting with preventive and social medicine. Today's topic would be health programs in India and all the health agencies that work in India, along with some allied topics that should be discussed along the way, right? Sit down, let's begin the session. The first thing that we are going to discuss is about the Ujawala scheme, okay. There are three schemes which actually sound similar, guys, so please don't get confused with these schemes. First is the Ujawala scheme, second is the Ujawala scheme, and third is the Ujala scheme, okay. We'll discuss those. So first of all, it is the Ujawala scheme, okay. Double J and triple A is there in the name, so just remember it likewise. So it is for the prevention, trafficking, rescue, prevention of trafficking, rescue, repatriation, rehabilitation and reintegration of the victims of the human trafficking who are being exploited for commercial sex, okay. So बहुत सारी जो लड़कियां होती है ना, they are being trafficked, okay. They are being kidnapped for exploiting them for commercial sex, okay. Mostly it occurs in the parts of West Bengal or in some northern or some central states in India, okay. So to just prevent this human trafficking and to rescue these, to repatriate them, to rehabilitate them and to reintegrate them into the society, this scheme was initiated by the government of India, that is the Ujawala scheme. And it is run under which ministry? That is important. Please remember, it is run under the Ministry of Women and Child Development. It is run under the Ministry of Women and Child Development. The minister is Smriti Irani, okay. And this is the logo for Ministry of Women and Child Development, okay. Important one, remember this, okay. So इस पे एक बारी question आया था that Ujawala scheme is for, it is for prevention of trafficking and the rescue of the victims of commercial sexual exploitation, right? Important. Moving further to our next one. So this is a table, guys, you need to remember. This is very much important. So these are all the healthcare workers, those work in India at various levels, okay. So their minimum qualification, the training duration, and most important, their population norms, right? That you need to remember. Out of which the most important is your first one, that is ASHA. ASHA is what? ASHA is accredited social health activist, okay. She is a accredited social health activist. Important one, guys. Minimum qualification for ASHA is how much? Minimum qualification is 8th class. The training duration for ASHA worker is 23 days and the population norm is 1 per 1000. That is, there should be 1 ASHA worker per 1000 population, or we can say 1 ASHA worker per village also at times, okay. So please remember, 1 ASHA worker per 1000 population. But this target was achieved already in India, okay. हमारे पास एक आशा वर्कर है 1000 population के लिए. So now in new terms we can say that we have a target of achieving 2 ASHA worker per 1000 population, okay. Okay, it is not 1 per 500, याद रखना, it is written the same in this way, it is 2 ASHA worker per 1000 population, okay. Next is, before moving on to the next healthcare worker, I would like to ask you about USHA. What do we mean by USHA? USHA is a urban social health activist, okay. So accredited social health activist, that is ASHA, is for a rural population or for villages, whereas USHA works for the urban population, mainly for the slums in the urban areas, right? So urban social health activist. Can anybody tell me the population norm for USHA? Just type in the chat box the population norm for USHA. That is one USHA worker for how much population? Tell me that, okay? Whereas now, after ASHA and USHA workers, we have a auxiliary nurse midwife, okay? We call them as ANMs or GNMs at some places, auxiliary nurse midwives, okay? The minimum for qualification for ANMs is 10th class, yaad rakhna. The training duration is of 18 months, that is 1.5 year, okay? 1.5 year. And one ANM is for 1 per 3,000 to 5,000 population. One ANM or GNM is for 3,000 to 5,000 population, yaad rakhna. Okay, whereas okay, right, it is not 5,000. Please remember guys, one USHA worker is for 2,500 population. Please remember this, one USHA worker is for 2,500 population, okay? 2,500 के लिए एक USHA worker होती है. Please remember this. Next one in line is your health worker or multi-purpose worker, okay? So can anybody tell me health worker or multi-purpose worker are located at which level? ASHA worker की हमने बात कर ली, they are located at village levels, okay? Health worker or multi-purpose worker, male or female, both of them are located at which level? Can anybody tell me? Please remember the minimum qualification for MPW is 10th class. The training duration for them is 1 year, and the population norm, that is one multi-purpose worker, male or female, they are for 3,000 to 5,000 population. 3,000 to 5,000 population. Can anybody tell me multi-purpose worker, male or female, are located at which level in the healthcare system? They are located at which level in the healthcare system? Anybody? Yes, very good Nirali. The answer over here is sub center. And ye jo hai population norm, it is same for the sub center also. Please remember, okay? So please remember, one sub center per 3,000, okay? One sub center per 3,000 population in hilly or tribal areas. Yaad rakh lena, hilly or tribal areas which are difficult to access. In those areas, one sub center is for 3,000 population, and the same population norm would apply for multi-purpose worker also. Whereas in cases of plains, one sub center is for 5,000 population. One sub center for 5,000 population, right? So yaad rakhna, it is the same for your multi-purpose workers also. Can anybody tell me over here which is the committee which gave the recommendation of multi-purpose worker? That is an important question which has been asked in the examination. Which is the committee which recommended to include multi-purpose worker in the healthcare system? Ye bata dena bas. Okay, till then move very important healthcare worker, and that is our Anganwadi worker. Okay, important one, Anganwadi worker. Multiple times question have been asked on Anganwadis. Okay, the minimum qualification is required as 5th class. Okay, the total training duration is of 4 months, and the population norm for Anganwadi worker in plains, one Anganwadi worker or one Anganwadi center. Okay, एक Anganwadi center पे एक Anganwadi सेविका होती है. So please remember, one Anganwadi sevika in plain it is for 400 to 800 population, whereas in hilly or tribal areas one Anganwadi sevika would be for 300 to 800 population. In plains 400 to 800, in hilly or tribal areas 300 to 800 population. Important one, please remember this. Okay, yes, very good, Bright. The answer over here is Kartar Singh committee. Okay, yaad rakhne na, Kartar Singh committee was the one who recommended multi-purpose worker, male or female, to be included in the healthcare system. Question repeated earlier. Okay, important one. So these are the most important ones that you need to remember. Among these there are two important ones. First is a village health guide, and second is a traditional birth attendant. Both of these workers are also located at the village level. Okay, village health guide or traditional birth attendant, and their population norm is same as the ASHA worker, that is one village health guide or one traditional birth attendant per 1,000 population. Okay, important one. Please remember this. Okay, I hope things are clear to you. Moving forward, this is a very important chart, guys, that you need to remember at any cost. Okay, yaad rakh lena. Now, moving on to some infectious diseases and their incubation period. As we all know, incubation periods have been a hotshot topic for many of the examinations. So let's discuss few important infectious diseases over here, right? So first is your smallpox, second is polio, and third is pertussis. These three diseases have the same incubation period, that is 1 to 2 weeks or 7 to 14 days. So please remember, smallpox, polio and pertussis. Smallpox, polio and pertussis. Incubation period of 7 to 14 days. Can anybody tell me smallpox is also known as Smallpox virus is also known as which virus? Can anybody tell me that? Please tell me that in the chat box. In the meanwhile, I'll move further. याद रखना, smallpox, polio and pertussis incubation period 7 to 14 days. Next one is measles. Okay, measles का incubation period is most important, guys. Please remember, measles का it is 10 to 14 days. 10 to 14 days. Why a range? So please remember, 10 days पे fever start होता है and 14 days पे rash appears first. Okay, so fever starts on 10th day whereas rash appears on the 14th day. So if you ask that what is the best answer, sir, so please remember, if you need to mark only one answer, that should be 10 days. याद रख लेना, if you need to mark only one answer, that should be 10 days. Next is your mumps and rubella. Next is your mumps and rubella. Mumps and rubella has an incubation period of 2 to 3 weeks. That is 14 to 21 days. 2 to 3 weeks or 14 to 21 days. No. You are getting confused, guys, right? Please remember, molluscum contagiosum is caused by pox virus. It is not caused by smallpox virus. Smallpox virus is also known as variola virus. याद रख लेना. Smallpox virus is also known as variola virus. याद रख लेना. ठीक है, and varicella virus is your chicken pox virus. Important one, याद रख लेना, don't get confused. Now next one, diphtheria, important. Okay, diphtheria का incubation period is 2 to 6 days. Diphtheria का incubation period is 2 to 6 days. A similar incubation period is also seen in gonorrhea. याद रख लेना, gonorrhea का भी incubation period is 2 to 7, 2 to 6 days. याद रख लेना, diphtheria and gonorrhea has similar incubation period of 2 to 6 days. Next is your chicken pox. Okay, I told you chicken pox is also known as which virus? Yes, it is also known as varicella virus. Okay, HHV3 होता ही है, human herpes virus 3, also known as chicken pox or varicella virus. Incubation period कितना है? 2 to 3 weeks होता है usually. Okay, that is 14 to 16 days we call it as on an average, but the range is from 10 to 21 days. Range is from 10 to 21 days. याद रखना. Next is your hepatitis viruses. इनका important question आ सकता है from microbiome also, from PSM also. So hepatitis A, B and C are important. Hepatitis A का incubation period is 15 to 45 days. Hepatitis A 15 to 45 days. Hepatitis B 45 to 180 days. Hepatitis B 45 to 180 days. And hepatitis C 30 to 120 days. Hepatitis C 30 to 120 days. One more question to you guys. Just tell me, for which hepatitis is vaccine available now in the market? For which hepatitis do we have vaccine available in the market? For which viral hepatitis? Tell me that. Okay. Moving further to next one, that is cholera. Okay, याद रख लेना, cholera. Okay, due to contaminated food and water. Okay, the incubation period for cholera is how much? It is 2 to 3 days. Incubation period for cholera is 2 to 3 days. It can range from few hours to 5 days also. Okay, can anybody tell me? Usually in cholera we can see rice watery diarrhea. कौन सा diarrhea दिखता है? We can see important, याद रखना, rice watery diarrhea. And cholera पे usually John Snow was the epidemiologist, father of epidemiology, who studied cholera as a disease. Therefore cholera is also known as father of what? Sorry, cholera is also known as father of anybody? Yes, very good guys. Hepatitis B के लिए तो है ही, very good. Hepatitis B के लिए vaccine available है, along with hepatitis B. और एक hep के लिए vaccine available in the market. Can anybody tell me that? Can anybody tell me, along with hepatitis B, there is vaccine available for one more hepatitis in the market? Can anybody tell me? So please remember, it is hepatitis A. याद रख लेना, hepatitis A and B have vaccines available for them. Hepatitis A and B have vaccines available for them. Okay, याद रखना. Next question to you in the chat box, please answer. Cholera is known as father of. Cholera is known as father of. And the last incubation period in the meanwhile, till you answer my question, it is for a disease known as influenza. Sorry guys, excuse me. Okay, it is for the disease known as influenza, which can range from 6 hours to 72 hours. Which can range from 6 hours to 72 hours. याद रख लेना. Okay, important one. Cholera is known as father of anybody? Public health. Very good, Krunal. The answer over here would be father of public health. याद रख लेना. Cholera is known as father of public health. So we can get confused that father of public health कोई इंसान होगा. So please remember, it is a disease, cholera. Okay, याद रख लेना. Now moving on to our next healthcare programs that are very much important. Okay, and the most important healthcare program currently in India is this one, that is our National Health Mission. Okay, क्या बोलते हैं इसको? National Health Mission, also called as NHM, which was launched in the year 2013. 2013. NHM was launched in the year 2013. Okay, so NHM was a combination of the previously existing two health missions. और वो दो health missions कौन से थे? National Rural Health Mission and National Urban Health Mission, both of which were launched in the year 2005. Okay, so they ran from 2005 to 2012, after which the government thought that there should be a combined health mission, that is National Health Mission, Rashtriya Swasthya Mission 2013. Okay, it comes under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, right? And it is an umbrella program, मतलब सबको अपने आप में समा लेता है. Okay, so it includes all the other health programs of India, like the RMNCH plus A, which works for reproductive and child health. We'll discuss it further. Next is your NPCBVI for blindness. Next is your NTEP, National TB Elimination Program, NLEP, National Leprosy Elimination Program, NPCDCS, NTCP, AMB, etc. All these programs come under the same health mission known as National Health Mission 2013. What are the major targets? This is a question which can be asked. याद रखना, the logo can be asked. This can be a probable question. Okay, please remember. Along with that, the major targets can be asked commonly. Okay, and what are the three major targets under National Health Mission? So याद रखना, first is to reduce the maternal mortality rate to less than 100 per 1 lakh live births. What is the formula for MMR? So please remember, the formula for MMR is total number of maternal deaths, okay, total maternal deaths upon total live births, okay, total live births into 1 lakh. याद रख लेना, it is 1 lakh. Though it is a rate, it is 1 lakh. Okay, so please remember the multiplier is 1 lakh over here. So याद रखना, maternal mortality rate is equal to total maternal deaths per 1 lakh live births. याद रख लेना. And the current MMR कितना होता है? Current MMR in India, according to the recent sample registration survey conducted in May 2020, it is 113 per 1 lakh live birth. It is 113 per 1 lakh live births. Yes, some of you will say, sir, it is 130. It is 130 according to the census in 2011, but according to the recent SRS by Government of India, it is 113 per 1 lakh live birth. याद रख लेना, ये important है. Okay. And the target according to NHM is to reduce this MMR to less than 100 per 1 lakh live birth. Next target is to reduce the infant mortality rate, IMR. What is the formula for IMR? So please remember, the formula for IMR would be total number of infant deaths, okay, total number of infant deaths upon total live births into 1000. So please remember, यहाँ पे multiplier क्या है? यहाँ पे multiplier is 1000. So this is a proper rate which we can say. Okay, so infant mortality rate or IMR is total number of infant deaths per 1000 live births. याद रखना. Okay, the current कितना है value? So please remember, the current value of infant mortality rate in India is 32 per 1000 live births. According to the SRS 2020, it is 32 per 1000 live births. पहले 34 था, I know that. Okay, now it is 32 per 1000 live births. And the target is to reduce it to less than 25 per 1000 live births. Okay, target according to NHM, it is to reduce the IMR to less than 25 per 1000 live births. And the last target, it is to bring the total fertility rate to 2.1. Okay, TFR is what? Total fertility rate, also known as completed family size. Okay, these are the alternative terms. याद रख लेना, total fertility rate or completed family size. This is the total number of children born to a woman in her entire reproductive lifespan. This is the definition of total fertility rate or completed family size. Currently, TFR of India is 2.2. Currently, the TFR of India कितना है? 2.2, and the target is to bring it to 2.1. But ये TFR 2.1 कैसे होगा? So for that, the couple production rate CPR should be more than 60%. Okay, CPR is what? The couples who are practicing contraception. So the couple production rate should be more than 60%, and the net reproduction rate, that is NRR, net reproduction rate, it should be 1. Currently it is 1.1. So अगर NRR 1 होगा और CPR more than 60 होगा, then we will be able to achieve the TFR of 2.1. I hope this is clear to you guys. Okay, don't get confused. Current MMR 113 per 1 lakh live births. Multiplier is important. IMR current, it is 32 per 1000 live births, and TFR current is 2.2, target is 2.1. For that, CPR should be more than 60% and NRR should be 1. NRR, net reproduction rate. Important definition है guys, याद रख लेना. This was asked prior. What is net reproduction rate? So please remember. Okay, net reproduction rate is the total number of girl children. Okay, total number of girl children born to a female in her entire reproductive lifespan minus the mortality. मतलब जितनी लड़कियां अभी जिंदा नहीं है उनको काउंट नहीं करेंगे. वी टेक इनटू अकाउंट द मोर्टैलिटी. सो देयरफॉर NRR or net reproduction rate is considered the best indicator. Okay, so please remember the best indicator is what? Net reproduction rate or NRR. Currently it is 1.2. Target is to achieve it to 1.1. Moving further guys now to the next one, that is very important scheme launched by the current government, that is Ayushman Bharat scheme or Ayushman Bharat program, launched in the year 2018. So Ayushman Bharat program was launched in the year 2018. So this is the logo, please remember. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, PMJ, Ayushman Bharat. Okay, so it is also called as the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, PMJ. And according to this scheme or this program, it provides cover of 5 lakh per family per annum. This was a question which has been asked. It provides a cover of 5 lakh per family per year for secondary and tertiary healthcare services. For secondary and tertiary healthcare services or hospitalization, किसमें in all the public hospitals as well as all the private empaneled hospitals. जो भी government के private empaneled hospitals है उनमें. And what is the criteria for being a private empaneled hospitals? The private empaneled hospital should have minimum more than 10 beds. Okay, the private empaneled hospital should have minimum more than 10 beds. ये याद रख लेना. कौन से हेल्थ सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करता है? सेकेंडरी एंड टर्शरी हेल्थ केयर सर्विसेज. ओके, कितना कवरेज देता है? 5 lakhs का पर फैमिली पर ईयर. याद रखना, इंपॉर्टेंट है. नाउ इट कवर्स मोर देन हाउ मच पॉपुलेशन? इट कवर्स मोर देन 50 crore population और 10 crore families अंडर द बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन. ओके, सो जो बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन फैमिलीज है, ऐसे 50 crore पॉपुलेशन को दिस आयुष्मान भारत स्कीम covers. Okay, next it subsumes other national health protection schemes. जो राष्ट्रीय बीमा योजना था, okay, the national health protection scheme which was launched earlier, it is also included under this Ayushman Bharat program 2018. याद रख लेना, all the national health protection schemes comes under this ABP now. Okay, and according to this program, 1.5 lakh plus health and wellness centers are to be established in India. Okay, so across India, how many health centers are to be established? Please remember, more than 1.5 lakh health and wellness centers are to be established, जहाँ पे बहुत सारे diseases के लिए primary treatment दिया जाएगा. Okay, those are known as health and wellness centers. Moving further guys to next one, and this is very important. याद रखना, TB is a very common question always. So now coming to the National Tuberculosis Elimination Program. Okay, National Tuberculosis Elimination Program, NTEP. Okay, so please remember guys, NTEP is the program. It was renamed in the year 2020. याद रख लेना, it was renamed in the year 2020, and the previous name for this program was RNTCP. Previous name for this program was RNTCP, that is Revised National Tuberculosis Control Program. Revised National Tuberculosis Control Program, ये पुराना नाम था. Okay, and there was a old logo also, but this is the new logo, National TB Elimination Program. TB मुक्त भारत, TB हारेगा, देश जीतेगा. Okay, please remember this. According to this, the category 1 and the category 2 patients are treated with the same regime. पहले क्या था? There were total 5 categories, right? Category 1 to category 5, and हर एक की अलग अलग treatment थी. So please remember, now category 1 and category 2 patients would be treated with the same regime. Okay, there is an intensive phase and there is a continuation phase. Can anybody tell me, intensive phase lasts for how many months and continuation phase lasts for how many months? Total duration होता है 6 months. Okay, total duration for treatment of pulmonary TB is 6 months usually. Okay, याद रख लेना. So intensive phase plus continuation phase. Intensive phase is given with 4 important first line anti-tubercular drugs, that is HRZE. Okay, we have discussed this earlier, that is isoniazid, rifampicin, pyrazinamide and ethambutol. Whereas continuation phase में we skip one of the drugs, that is the treatment protocol would be only HRE, that is isoniazid, rifampicin and ethambutol. Pyrazinamide is taken out in the continuation phase because on longer duration of treatment, pyrazinamide is a hepatotoxic drug. Okay, can anybody tell me in the chat box, please guys, answer the question? Answer this question. Just tell me. Just tell the answer for this question. Intensive phase कितने duration का? Very good हिमांशु. Okay, intensive phase is for 2 months, whereas continuation phase is of 4 months, total making it a duration of 6 months treatment. Okay, yaad rakhna, this is very much important. Okay, a question from pharmacology also, yaad rakh lena. Okay, according to this we'll also discuss, there is dots included in this, there is a separate logo for dots, and what is dots, let's discuss that further. Okay, so this is dots. Okay, this is the logo which is used for dots, that is pura course pakka ilaj. Okay, and what is the full form of dots, yaad rakh lena, dots is nothing but directly observed treatment short course. So what was observed earlier, pata hai kya, TB का बहुत लंबा इलाज चलता है. So due to that, the patients were non-compliant, they were not taking medicines regularly. Therefore the healthcare worker goes to the patient, gives the medicine and asks the patient to take in front of them. So the healthcare worker observes the treatment. So it is known as directly observed treatment short course, also known as DOTS, was launched by the government of India. Okay, so now DOTS का एक नया फॉर्म है, that is known as DOTS. Okay, that is a ICT based adherence support. Okay, it is a ICT based adherence support. Okay, इससे क्या होता है, adherence या compliance जो और बढ़ गया. कैसे? Because the TB blister pack of drugs, actually when a person takes a drug, there would be a contact number written on it, and the patient has to dial that number and give a missed call on that number. Okay, जैसे ही वो missed call देगा, the app would be updated over there. Okay, the data would be updated कि इस patient ने treatment ले लिया. So likewise, therefore the adherence and the compliance was increased. Okay, please remember, due to this the adherence and compliance was increased, and this is known as DOTS 99. Second, under DOTS incentives are given to the patient. याद रखना, under DOTS incentives are given to the patient. Patients TB patients usually receive 500 per month जब तक treatment चलता है. Okay, 500 receives per month a TB patient receives until the treatment is continued. Can anybody tell me, इस पे question आ सकता है, how much a healthcare worker receives, a healthcare provider who is giving DOTS treatment to any TB patient, how much does he receive per month? कोई तो बता सकता है? Just tell me in the chat box. Next, according to DOTS, okay, or according to the National TB Elimination Program, chest X-ray and molecular diagnostic tests were included. Okay, याद रख लेना. So what is the first line screening test? So याद रख लेना, the first line screening test usually for TB patient is a sputum smear. The first line screening test for a TB patient is a sputum smear. Okay, so sputum smear का क्या होता है? Usually sputum smear में कौन सा stain use होता है? So the sputum smear has which stain in it? Sputum smear is prepared with which stain? Anybody? Sputum smear is prepared with which stain? Anybody? Yes, very good, Sarika. The answer over here is 1,000 rupees are received by the healthcare worker. Okay, so please remember, patients को 500 रुपये मिलते हैं, whereas healthcare worker receives 1,000 rupees. याद रख लेना. Now we are talking about the screening test. Sputum is collected and a smear is prepared. For that smear, which is the stain used? Can anybody tell me? इस पे माइक्रो से भी क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. Which is the stain? For acid fast bacilli, it detects acid fast bacilli, and Mycobacterium tuberculosis is 20% acid fast, right? याद रखना. Okay, it is sputum smear में. Please remember guys, it is your Zeal-Nielsen stain, ZN stain. Please remember, ZN stain or Zeal-Nielsen stain is used, on which it shows 20% acid fast bacilli, right? Yes, very good, Sarika. So please remember this. Along with that, yaad rakhna, this sputum can also be undertaken for culture. Can anybody tell me which is the culture media used for Mycobacterium tuberculosis? Which is the culture media used for Mycobacterium tuberculosis? Let's revise all the important points of TB over here. Jaldi jaldi answer karo so I can move further. Which is the best culture media for Mycobacterium TB? Which is the best culture media? So just tell me guys. So sputum smear karte hai, sputum culture karte hai. Along with that, a chest X-ray is also performed, on which we can see some positive chest X-ray findings, and then finally a patient is sent, the sample is sent for molecular diagnostic test. The preferred one would be your LPA, that is line probe assay, and CB-NAT. Okay, these are the tests of choice. याद रख लेना, these are the investigation of choice. अगर investigation of choice पूछेंगे, either line probe assay or CB-NAT, that is cartridge based nucleic acid amplification test. Cartridge based nucleic acid amplification test. These are the investigation of choice. याद रख लेना, not only sputum but any of the fluids can be sent in cases of extrapulmonary TB. For example, pleural TB है, तो प्लूरल फ्लूइड टैपिंग के बाद जो निकाला जाता है दैट कैन ऑल्सो बी सेंट फॉर सीबी नैट, याद रख लेना ये. ओके, yes, very good answer, very good guys. So the answer over here is LJ media, that is Lowenstein-Jensen media. Lowenstein-Jensen media is the best culture media for Mycobacterium tuberculosis, right? So according to this program, molecular diagnostic tests are also included like line probe assay, CB NAT, true NAT or gene expert assay, right? According to this program only, the patient receives daily regimen of the treatment and fixed dose combinations are given. Daily regimes are given, okay, हर रोज दवाई लेनी है, fixed dose combinations are given. And these fixed dose combination, इसकी वजह से क्या हुआ है, number of drugs are decreased and therefore the compliance of the patient is increased. कम दवाइयाँ खाएगा तो वो खाता रहेगा लंबे समय तक, right? इतनी सारी दवाइयाँ कोई नहीं खा पाएगा, right? So that is the main. According to this only, active case findings of TB have been started. What is active case finding? Active surveillance का मतलब क्या होता है? When the healthcare worker goes to the community to search for TB cases, that is active surveillance. Okay, healthcare worker जब community में जाके search करता है, that is active surveillance. When the patients come to the healthcare worker, that is passive surveillance. And sentinel surveillance, guys, it is done for hidden or undiagnosed cases in cases of HIV वगैरह. Okay, sentinel surveillance is performed for HIV, important है, याद रख लेना. Next, also according to this program or dots, ड्रग रेजिस्टेंट टीबी की भी ट्रीटमेंट दी गई है. जल्दी जल्दी रिवाइज करते हैं. ड्रग रेजिस्टेंस वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड इन फार्मा. मोनो ड्रग रेजिस्टेंस मीन्स ड्रग रेजिस्टेंस टू एनी वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट लाइन एंटी ट्यूबरकुलर ड्रग. Okay, any one of the first line anti-tubercular drug. Then polydrug resistance means drug resistance to more than one of the first line anti-tubercular drug except isoniazid and rifampicin. So जब अगर isoniazid और rifampicin का रेजिस्टेंस होगा तो इसको क्या बोला जाएगा? दिस इज नोन एज मल्टी ड्रग रेजिस्टेंट टीबी. याद रख लेना, MDR टीबी बोला जाता है व्हेन देयर इज रेजिस्टेंस टू isoniazid and rifampicin. याद रख लेना. व्हाट इज XDR टीबी? XDR is extremely drug resistant TB. Okay, so please remember extensively drug resistant TB, that is resistance to isoniazid and rifampicin along with one of the injectable second line injectable drugs along with one of the fluoroquinolones. Okay, this is the definition. XDR TB, it is resistance to isoniazid rifampicin along with one of the second line injectable along with one fluoroquinolone, that is XDR TB. Can anybody tell me in the chat box? We have discussed in pharma, what is the drug of choice for XDR TB or TDR TB? टोटल ड्रग रेजिस्टेंट या एक्सट्रीमली एक्सटेंसिवली ड्रग रेजिस्टेंट टीबी के लिए मैंने एक न्यू ड्रग बताई थी फार्मा में. कैन एनीबडी जस्ट रिकॉल इट? आई होप थिंग्स आर क्लियर नाउ. इट इज नॉट स्टक. जस्ट टाइप इन द चैट बॉक्स इफ इट इज स्टक स्टिल because I can watch it properly now. Sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, so now moving further guys, just ये बता देना the drug of choice for XDR or TDR TB. Okay, now moving further to the next logo that we have in the picture over here, and what is this? Please remember this is your Nikshay. Okay, ये क्या है तुम्हारा? Nikshay. Nikshay is a online portal. Okay, please remember Nikshay is a online portal or online tool for monitoring and surveillance of the tuberculosis control program. So NTEP का proper surveillance रखने के लिए और online monitoring करने के लिए the government of India has launched this online portal known as Nikshay. Okay, so the word Nikshay is a combination of two Hindi words where Ni means eradication and Shay means tuberculosis. So Nikshay means eradication of tuberculosis. Okay, so on this portal there is data of all the TB patients who are undertaking treatment. So anybody drug of choice for XDR or TDR TB, please remember this is a new drug known as bedaquiline or delamanid. Please remember delamanid. Okay, delamanid or bedaquiline are the two new drugs used for XDR or TDR TB. I hope this is clear. Moving further guys, now to the next logo that we have. This is a very important one again. You usually asked in the previous examination, like during previous years. So this is what? This is a logo for Integrated Child Development Services. Okay, this is a logo for Integrated Child Development Services, also known as ICDS, launched in the year 1975. Launched in the year 1975. So now the questions can be different. याद रख लेना. So ICDS, it is for the Integrated Child Development. The heart of ICDS, question can be, what is the heart of ICDS? So please remember the heart of ICDS is the Anganwadi Center. Heart of ICDS is a Anganwadi center. याद रख लेना, heart of ICDS is a Anganwadi center. Now, what was the population norm? We have already discussed. In plains it was 400 to 800, and in hilly and tribal areas it was 300 to 800 population. Right? Important है, याद रख लेना norm. Now, this ICDS program comes under the Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India. Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India. What is the functional unit? याद रख लेना, these are the two important questions. Okay, heart of ICDS is Anganwadi, but a functional unit is a community development block. Heart of ICDS if asked, it is Anganwadi, but a functional unit would be a community development block, CDB. Okay, so the question can be one community development block covers how many villages? So please remember, one community development block covers 100 villages. It covers 100 villages or 1 lakh population. One community development block covers 100 villages or 1 lakh population. Whereas one Anganwadi center we have already discussed, plains में 400 to 800, hilly areas में 300 to 800. Moving further, I hope this is very much clear to you guys. Okay, I'm happy that you guys are answering. Keep on answering. Okay, so now some important instruments, field instruments that are used in PSM. Also the question can be asked from pediatrics, guys, so please remember. The first one that we have in the image, what is this? This is your Infantometer. ये क्या है? Infantometer. It has markings on it and it is used to measure length up to 2 years of age. As we all know, length कब बोला जाता है? Less than 2 years of age तक length बोला जाता है. After 2 years it is called as height. Okay. So can anybody tell me, अगर length के लिए we use this Infantometer, then what is the instrument used for height? For length we use this Infantometer. So what is the instrument used for measuring height after 2 years of age? Can anybody tell me that? Please tell me that in the chat box. Okay. In the meanwhile, let's move on to our next instrument. This one, जिस पे 2-3 बार question पूछा गया अलग-अलग exams में. Please remember, this is important. And what is this? This instrument that we have is known as Shakir's tape. क्या बोला जाता है? This is known as your Shakir's tape. Okay, please remember, this is known as your Shakir's tape. So it is used to measure mid-arm circumference or mid-upper arm circumference, MAC. Okay. It is a field instrument used by the healthcare workers to measure the mid-arm circumference. And mid-arm circumference, as we all know, MAC, it is an indicator of malnutrition. It is an indicator of malnutrition. So this is a field instrument used to assess malnutrition by the healthcare workers. So it can be used in which age group? It is used in children from 6 months to 5 years. It is used in children from 6 months to 5 years of age. Okay. And the red zone, the green zone indicates normal children. Okay. Yellow zone indicates borderline children. And the red zone indicates malnourished children. याद रख लेना. Okay. And severe malnutrition is when the mid-arm circumference comes under the red zone. Okay, so MAC of less than 12.5 centimeter is considered severe malnutrition. MAC of less than 12.5 centimeter is considered severe malnutrition. Okay, important one. Yes, very good, very good. Right, Mayur, very good. The answer over here is stadiometer. So the instrument used for measuring height after 2 years is known as stadiometer. Very good, guys. Moving further to next one, the third image over here, ये क्या measure कर रहे हैं? यहाँ पे ये measuring scale दिख रही है. Okay, so this is, please remember, this is a Salter's scale. क्या बोला जाता है scale को? This is known as a Salter's scale. And Salter's scale is used to measure weight in ICDS activities. So जो आंगनवाड़ी activities होती है ना, at the आंगनवाड़ी centers, we have these Salter's scales for measuring weight of children. Okay, so please remember, this is a Salter's scale. Next one. Now ये बस images याद रख लो, यहाँ मैं बाकी ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं बता रहा. Please remember, what are these? These are the ICDS growth charts. Okay, so ICDS program के अंदर ये growth charts दिए गए हैं. The pink one is for girls and the blue one is for boys. Okay, so color discrimination started here itself. Pink one is for girls and blue one is for boys. So this ICDS growth charts are used to assess malnutrition in ICDS activities. Malnutrition in ICDS activities can be assessed by this growth charts. Okay, so here ये questions पूछे गए, so just remember these two important points. The upper reference curve, see, please remember, this one is your upper reference curve. Okay, and this one is your lower reference curve. Okay, this one is your lower reference curve. याद रख लेना. In between this is the road to health. इसको क्या बोला जाता है? This is known as your road to health. मतलब इसके अंडर आने वाले healthy के बाद होता है borderline and इसके बाद होता है malnourished children. right? इसके बाद होता है malnourished children, the red zone indicates malnourishment. So the upper reference curve जो होता है, so please remember this upper reference curve is the 50th percentile for boys and the lower reference curve is the 3rd percentile for girls. Okay, so upper reference curve is 50th percentile of boys and lower reference curve is 3rd percentile of girls. Important. Now this is a WHO growth chart. Okay, याद रखना ICDS growth charts में कलर है दोनों के लिए अलग अलग and there are 3 zones which are seen, color coded zones, whereas WHO growth charts में pink is for girls, blue is for boys, same, but यहाँ पे कोई color zones नहीं दिखेंगे तुम्हें. Okay, green, yellow, red ऐसा कोई color zone नहीं दिखेगा. So this is a WHO growth chart used. Okay, and next one, this is a very common image. Twice a question has been asked. What is this image? यहाँ पे क्या measure कर रहा है ये? So this instrument is used to measure the skin fold thickness. Okay, this instrument is used to measure the skin fold thickness. Okay, and skin fold thickness के लिए कौन सी instrument use होती है? Please remember it is your Harpendens calipers. Okay, what is this? This is your Harpendens calipers used to measure skin fold thickness. Important one. Okay, now moving further guys to next healthcare. So there was a technical error in between due to which it was disconnected. So just tell me that were you able to hear about Poshan Abhiyan? Were you able to hear about Poshan Abhiyan? याद रख लेना, Poshan Abhiyan is a scheme of Government of India launched by the Ministry of Women and Child Development, okay, with the aim to attain a malnutrition free India by the year 2022. याद रख लेना, malnutrition free India by the year 2022. Okay, I hope the connection is successful now. Yeah, I'll for sure post this PDF, don't worry about that guys. Okay, now, okay, yaad rakh lena. So this Poshan Abhiyan works at the Anganwadi centers and it comes under the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Okay, so this is the logo, Poshan Abhiyan, Prime Minister's overarching scheme for holistic nourishment, Sahi Poshan, Desh Roshan. Okay, so this is the tagline which is used. Now moving further guys to the next one, and this is a very important one again, that is the midday meal scheme. Okay, this is a midday meal scheme. So this is the logo for midday meal scheme, when the children in school are sitting all together with the meal provided by the government itself. Okay, so this is the logo for midday meal scheme where education and energy requirement or calorie requirement are combined together. So this is the logo which signifies it. Okay, so this midday meal scheme comes under the Ministry of Human Resource and Development. Okay, HRD Ministry, Ministry of Human Resource and Development, and as we all know now this HRD Ministry is renamed as Ministry of Education. So याद रखना, Ministry of Human Resource and Development is itself renamed as Ministry of Education, which covers this midday meal scheme. Okay, so according to this scheme, 1/3 calories and half of the proteins are given of the recommended daily allowance. Okay, so of the total recommended daily allowance, 1/3 calories and half proteins are provided. Okay, 1/3 calories and half of the proteins of the total daily requirement are provided. Now according to the scheme, cereals are also given. Okay, so please remember, pre-primary में 100 grams of cereals and upper primary में 150 grams of cereals are given. Primary 100 grams of cereals and upper primary 150 grams of children are provided. Cereals are provided respectively to the children. Okay, याद रख लेना, this is the most important. इसमें most important is this one, इस पे question आया twice. 1/3 calories and half of the proteins of the daily requirement are provided. याद रख लेना. Next one guys, the next logo over here that we have, this is for the National Family Planning Program. Okay, NFPP. So this logo is for the National Family Planning Program. You can see over here itself. Okay, उनका एक ही बच्चा है. Okay, एक शेर का बच्चा एक ही अच्छा. Right? हम दो हमारे दो का ज़माना गया अब. So this is जोड़ी जिम्मेदार जो प्लान करे परिवार. Okay, so this logo has been set in use for the National Family Planning Program. बस logo याद रख लो, that is very much important. Okay, moving further to the next one guys, and this is what is your JSSK. And what do we mean by JSSK? That is Janani Shishu Suraksha Karyakram. Okay, Janani means mother, Shishu means a newborn child. Okay, so Janani Shishu Suraksha Karyakram. This is the logo, very easy to recognize, right? So under this program, what has been provided by the Government of India? So please remember guys, according to this comes under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. याद रख लेना, Government of India. According to this program, we provide free diagnostic services to the mother and the newborn. Along with that, we provide free drugs for the treatment of both of them. Then free delivery is conducted. Free diet is given. Okay, so याद रख लेना diet का important है. In cases of normal vaginal delivery, free diet is given up to 3 days, whereas in cases of cesarean section, free diet is given for 7 days. Okay, then free blood transfusion is given for mother and child, newborn both, and free transportation are the components. Okay, free transportation are the components under this JSSK program. Okay, याद रख लेना. Under this program only, different newborn care units have to be set. Okay, so please remember, these newborn care corner was established at the subcenter. Newborn stabilization unit were established at the PSCs. Specialized newborn care unit were established at the CSCs, community health center. And lastly, home based newborn care was provided by the ASHA worker. Home based newborn care किसके थ्रू दी जाती है? ASHA worker. Home based newborn care. Okay, home based newborn care, important one. Can anybody tell me home based newborn care के लिए ASHA worker visits the home postnatally? ठीक है, डिलीवरी के बाद ASHA worker give visits to the house. In case of institutional deliveries, she visits how many times, and in cases of home delivery, she visits how many times? Yeah, ये आंसर दे दो please. Okay, in cases of institutional deliveries, how many ASHA visits are recommended, and in cases of home deliveries, how many ASHA visits are recommended? Okay, ANC and PNC visits are the common questions which have been asked. Okay, so tell me this. I am talking about the PNC visit, postnatal care visits. PNC visits given by the ASHA worker according to the home-based newborn care. Can anybody tell me in institutional deliveries how many visits? याद रख लेना, जब हॉस्पिटल में डिलीवरी होती है, इंस्टीट्यूशनल डिलीवरी, yes, very good, bright. The answer would be 6 times in institutional deliveries. 6 visits in institutional deliveries, whereas 7 visits in cases of home deliveries. 7 visits in cases of home deliveries, because please remember, one visit is added on the 0 day itself. One visit is also added on the 0 day itself. Okay, so usual क्या होता है recommendation? 3, 7, 14, 21, 28 and 42. 42 क्यों लास्ट है? बिकॉज इट इज द एंड ऑफ परप्यूरियम. व्हाट इज परप्यूरियम? सवा महीना बोलते हैं ना. सो 42 days after delivery, that is your perperial period, in which the delivered female is more likely to have some infections or any other diseases. Okay, so please remember, the patient is in the immunocompromised state, therefore these 42 days are at most important. Okay, याद रखना, institutional deliveries 6 visits, home deliveries 7 visits, ASHA worker से दी जाती है, these are postnatal visits, and ANC, that is antenatal care visits, which are when the patient comes to the hospital during pregnancy, which are antenatal, मतलब डिलीवरी से पहले, which are when the patient comes, the pregnant female comes to the hospital while she is pregnant. And the minimum antenatal visits, question from August 2020 examination, minimum antenatal visits recommended are 4 visits. याद रख लेना, minimum antenatal visits recommended are 4 visits. याद रख लो, ये 4 visits होते हैं important. ओके, यूजुअल विजिट्स कितने होने चाहिए? 13 to 14 होने चाहिए, बट मिनिमम 4 होने ही चाहिए. ओके, मिनिमम शुड बी 4, recommended are 13 to 14. याद रख लेना. मूविंग फर्दर गाइज टू नेक्स्ट वन. दिस नेक्स्ट प्रोग्राम इजी, फैमिली है, प्रोटेक्शन दिया है. किससे प्रोटेक्शन दिया है? ये मच्छर से. सो व्हाट इज मच्छर? मॉस्किटोज आर यूजुअली वेक्टर्स फॉर मैनी डिसीजेस, राइट? सो इससे ईजी हो जाता है. सो दिस इज द राष्ट्रीय वेक्टर जनित रोग नियंत्रण कार्यक्रम, ऑल्सो नोन एज National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program, NVBDCP, National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. वो जो black दिख रहा है ना, I feel it is due to the green chroma से cut हो जाता है. Okay, so that is a green color guys, please याद रख लें जो भी कट रहा है. So it is your National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program. So according to this, some questions can be asked. Which is the most common vector-borne disease in India? As we all know, the most common vector-borne disease in India is your malaria. Most common vector-borne disease in India is your malaria. Which is the most common viral vector-borne disease in India? Which is spread by a virus, because याद रखना, मलेरिया का causative agent क्या है? Plasmodium, and Plasmodium is a protozoa, right? So please remember Plasmodium. Okay. So viral अगर पूछा जाए, which is the most common viral vector-borne disease, then the answer would be dengue. याद रख लेना, most common viral vector-borne disease, dengue या dengue जो भी बोलो, it is the most common viral as well as most common arboviral vector-borne disease. Most common viral as well as arboviral vector-borne disease, दोनों का आंसर होगा dengue. याद रख लेना, important one. Okay, now this NVBDCP, National Vector-Borne Disease Control Program, it includes malaria, dengue, filariasis, kala azar, Japanese encephalitis and chikungunya fever. याद रख लेना, malaria, dengue, filariasis, kala azar, Japanese encephalitis and chikungunya fever. Very much important. Let's discuss few points about malaria. गए जल्दी जल्दी आंसर करोगे, थोड़ा इंटरेस्ट बनेगा, right? So just tell me जल्दी से, which is the most common vector for malaria? हमें तो सबको पता है, it is female anopheles mosquito, ये सबको पता है. But now the question would be most common vector in urban areas of India and the rural areas of India. Anybody? Which species of anopheles mosquito? Okay, so urban areas of India में कौन सा anopheles नाम क्या है इसका, और rural India में कौन सा anopheles क्या नाम है? Just tell me the most common vectors for malaria in urban as well as rural areas. अर्बन एरिया में इट इज एनोफिलिस, क्या नाम है मॉस्किटो का? एनोफिलिस, एक मॉडर्न सा नाम है एकदम, रॉकिंग सा. यस, वेरी गुड. अर्बन इट इज एनोफिलस स्टीफेंसी. वेरी गुड, राइट. इट इज एनोफिलस स्टीफेंसी इन अर्बन एरियाज, वेयर एज इन केसेस ऑफ रूरल एरियाज इट इज एनोफिलस क्यूलिसी फेशीज. याद रख लेना, रूरल एरियाज इट इज एनोफिलस क्यूलिसी फेशीज. वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट, याद रख लेना ये. ओके, इंपॉर्टेंट है, सो याद रखना. विच इज द बेस्ट इंडिकेटर फॉर मलेरिया कंट्रोल? कैन एनीबडी टेल मी विच इज द बेस्ट इंडिकेटर? बहुत सारे इंडिकेटर्स होते हैं ना. कैन एनीबडी टेल मी विच इज द बेस्ट इंडिकेटर फॉर मलेरिया कंट्रोल? दिस वॉज अ क्वेश्चन विच हैव बीन आस्क्ड इन एम्स. विच इज द बेस्ट इंडिकेटर फॉर मलेरिया कंट्रोल? कैन एनीबडी टेल मी? The best indicator to check efficiency of the program. Okay, अगर operational efficiency की बात करें, the best indicator for operational efficiency of the program है fast. Okay, कि किस तरह से प्रोग्राम काम कर रहा है. The best indicator for operational efficiency of the program, please remember, it is your annual blood examination rate. कि कितनी malarial slides examine हो रही है. मलेरिया में क्या होता है? स्क्रीनिंग टेस्ट, a peripheral blood smear, right? A peripheral blood smear. Okay. No, Nirali, it is not infant parasitic rate. Infant parasitic rate was the best indicator earlier. Now there is a better indicator than infant parasitic rate. It is known as your annual parasitic incidence. याद रख लेना, annual parasitic incidence is the best indicator for malaria control. Best indicator for malaria control कौन सा होगा? Annual parasitic index. Okay. Whereas operational efficiency के लिए it is your annual blood examination rate. Now two questions यही से लिंक करता हूँ मैं. Can anybody tell me malarial slides are prepared at which level? कहाँ पे प्रिपेयर होते हैं? विलेज लेवल, सब सेंटर, PHC, CHC, DH. कहाँ पे प्रिपेयर होते हैं? Malarial slides are prepared by whom? Yes, annual parasitic rate or annual parasitic index. Please tell me malarial slides for peripheral blood smear, they are prepared at which level? ये बता देना. and prepared by which healthcare worker? ये important है. Okay, these two questions can be asked, very important. Okay, which healthcare worker prepares these malaria slides and at which level? So please remember, these malarial slides are prepared at not village level. Please remember, Sarika, it is sub center. Very good, Bright. It is your sub center level. Okay, it is your sub center level. Very good, Nirali. And it is done by the multi-purpose worker male. याद रख लेना, this is important. दोनों होते हैं ना multi-purpose worker male female. So please remember, it is by the multi-purpose worker or healthcare worker male. Excuse me, guys. Sorry for the inconvenience, guys. But it's natural, कभी कभी हो जाता है. Talking for long hours. Just excuse me and apologize for that. Okay. Sorry. Moving further, guys. Now, please stay. Okay. I hope it is not stuck again. Yeah. Moving further to next one. The next logo, it indicates the National Leprosy Elimination Program. The next logo indicates National Leprosy Elimination Program or NLEP. This is the logo with a lotus in the hand and sun over here. Okay, याद रख लेना. This is the logo for National Leprosy Elimination Program. So under this National Leprosy Elimination Program, guys, we have a uniform multi-drug therapy, MDT बोला जाता है जिसको. We have a uniform multi-drug therapy for all the patients of leprosy, whether they are paucibacillary leprosy or whether it is multibacillary leprosy. Right? We have discussed this classification in dermatology. Paucibacillary leprosy मतलब less than equal to 5 lesions, 5 skin lesions, and multibacillary leprosy मतलब more than 5 lesions. Okay, 6 or 7 lesions. Okay, that is multibacillary leprosy. So दोनों type of leprosy में multi-drug therapy is the same. Okay, there is a 3-drug regime. There is a 3-drug regime of dapsone, rifampicin and clofazimine. There is a 3-drug regime of dapsone, rifampicin and clofazimine. If they ask drug of choice, please remember it is dapsone if a single drug is to be marked. Okay, याद रख लेना. But these questions are not usually asked, which are confusing, right? So just tell me, for paucibacillary leprosy, what is the duration of treatment, and for multibacillary leprosy, what is the duration of treatment? Okay, because the treatment regime is same, all the 3 drugs are used for both, only the treatment duration differs. Pauci में थोड़ा कम है, multi में थोड़ा ज़्यादा है, right? Important. Now what is निकुष्ट? So please remember guys, जैसे कि निक्षय था टीबी के लिए, वैसे ही एक निकुष्ट करके ऑनलाइन पोर्टल है leprosy के लिए. Ni means eradication, Kusht means leprosy. Again, for eradication of leprosy, there is a ICT based online tracking and surveillance system or a surveillance portal which has been established, okay, on which all the data is collected, okay, for all the leprosy patients under the National Leprosy Elimination Program. Yes, very good guys. The answer over here would be 6 months in cases of paucibacillary leprosy, whereas 12 months in cases of multibacillary leprosy is the treatment duration. Very good. Now moving further, what are these packs? These packs at times they can ask you in the question. Okay, image कभी दी जा सकती है, so just don't deter कि नहीं पूछा जा सकता. At times we are not sure. Okay, so MDT regimes, that is multi-drug therapy regimens है ये. Each blister pack contains treatment for 4 weeks, that is for 1 month. After 1 month, the patient has to come to the healthcare system, that is to the hospital, and take one drug in front of the healthcare provider. Okay, so that is known as a supervised dose, whereas the other drugs are given for home unsupervised dose के लिए. ये already हमने फार्मा में already deep में पढ़ चुके हैं हम, right? डर्मा में भी. So paucibacillary adult treatment once a month, rifampicin and dapsone are given. Okay, please remember once a month rifampicin and dapsone is given, whereas then dapsone, rifampicin and clofazimine के daily doses भी दिए जाते हैं. Okay, then multibacillary leprosy same is given, just the treatment duration differs as you all are quite aware of. याद रखना, paucibacillary leprosy का जो blister pack होता है it is green in color, whereas multibacillary leprosy pack is violet or purple in color. Okay, this is the only difference. Moving further guys, now next one. This is what, so please remember this is a logo which is used for red ribbon, सबको पता है. Okay, so red ribbon is used for AIDS awareness, right? So this NACO, which is the logo, it is used for the National AIDS Control Organization. NACO, National AIDS Control Organization. It is the tagline क्या इनकी, India's voice against AIDS, and it is under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, right? So this NACO comes under the National AIDS Control Program. Okay, so the NACO and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has launched this National AIDS Control Program in the year 1987. Okay, first case HIV का कब record हुआ इंडिया में? So please remember the first case of HIV was recorded in India in the year 1986 in the city of Chennai. Okay, so the first case of HIV in India was recorded in 1986 in the city of Chennai, and immediately in 1987 we launched this program known as National AIDS Control Program. Right, so it is looked after by NACO, National AIDS Control Organization. It is just a subunit of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. याद रखना. Now according to this, ART, that is the antiretroviral therapy is initiated. Okay, so please remember according to this program, this is a very much important one, क्योंकि ART के लिए पहले कट ऑफ लाइन थी, CD4 काउंट की कट ऑफ लाइन थी, बट नाउ द ART इज इनिशिएटेड irrespective of the CD4 count. Whatever is the CD4 count, that does not matter. ART is to be initiated as soon as possible. ART is to be initiated as soon as possible, right? Screening for HIV patient is done by ERS battery. Screening for ERS battery, which means ELISA, rapid test and simple test. Okay, ELISA, rapid test and simple test are done, okay, are coming under the screening for HIV. Yaad rakh lena, important hai. Okay, now just a question for you. The prophylaxis, the post exposure prophylaxis rather, okay, yaad rakh lena, the post exposure prophylaxis for HIV, duration kitna hai? What is the duration for post exposure prophylaxis? Question I have been asked. What is the duration for post exposure prophylaxis of HIV? What is the duration of post exposure prophylaxis of HIV? Just tell me that. Whereas this one, जहाँ एक family दिख रही है in this red ribbon, this is the integrated counseling and testing centers. Okay, ये क्या है? These centers were established which are known as integrated counseling and testing centers. So यहाँ पे screening tests होंगे usually for all these for the HIV patients or the HIV suspects. Along with that, counseling करी जाएगी उनकी if they are diagnosed. Okay, so please remember that is a huge issue in cases of HIV like diseases, right? Important one. So please remember this. Can anybody tell me what is the duration for post exposure prophylaxis? For example, you are doing your internship और खुदा ना खास्ता अगर गलती से भी तुमने prick कर लिया और तुम्हारा patient is PLHA. What is PLHA? People living with HIV AIDS. They are termed as PLHA to avoid stigma, right? So PLHA patient है तुम्हारा. Now you are to be started with post exposure prophylaxis. So you are started on the post exposure antiretroviral therapy. It should be started within 72 hours of exposure. Within 72 hours exposure it should be started, तभी वो effective होगी. But for what duration it is to be given? Can anybody tell me for what duration do we give this treatment, post exposure prophylaxis? Nobody? So please remember guys, it is given for a total duration of 28 days or 4 weeks. याद रख लेना. For 1 month almost we give this treatment. So here please remember, post exposure prophylaxis in cases of HIV, it should be started within 72 hours and it should be given for a period of 28 days or 4 weeks. याद रख लेना. Very good Sarika. Okay, important one. Moving further to next one, और ये question आया था December 2021 session में. Not 1 year, it is 28 days or 4 weeks. Okay, so this was a question, this was the logo which was given in December 2020 session guys. So please remember, this is what, this is the logo for Suraksha Clinic. Most of them have marked it as first aid. Please याद रखना, first aid का अलग logo होता है. Okay, so please remember, first aid का अलग logo होता है, that will see. Okay, this is your Suraksha Clinic. Okay, Suraksha Clinic. It has this dot in between. याद रख लो, white cross with a dot in between. So Suraksha Clinic was established for the sexual and reproductive health services. Okay, so it was established to provide sexual and reproductive health services. Under this, treatment was given for the reproductive tract infection and sexually transmitted infections. Okay, so please remember, Suraksha Clinic is to provide services for these reproductive tract and sexually transmitted infections. So according to this, तुम्हें kits पूछ सकते हैं, right? So there are different color coded STI or RTI drug kits available for syndromatic management of these different diseases at the Suraksha clinics. And what are these different kits? So they can ask you the color and they can ask you that this kit is used for which of the following syndromes, or vice versa, that can be asked. Okay, so please remember, kit 1 is a grey kit. Kit 1 is the grey kit which is used for urethral discharge or for cases of cervicitis. Grey kit is used in cases of urethral discharge or in cases of cervicitis. याद रख लेना. Then kit 2 is your green kit and green kit is used in cases of vaginitis. मैं कैसे याद रखता हूँ? Usually बहुत लोग हरा भरा बोलते हैं that. So I hope guys that we can end the session over here because I have taken much time. Then we can discuss the other healthcare programs and allied topics like immunization and all of these in the next upcoming session. I'll be informing you when the session would be, Okay, and I hope all of you would be there present in the next session also. Okay, so this way we can just finish off with our PSM, preventive and social medicine revision and chanting. Okay, so let's meet you in the next class. Till that, thank you so much and hope you have enjoyed the session.